Hello everyone. Now everyone is spreading it. If your battery is at 7, you will surely find some relaxing snow camping. Isn't that just fooling kids? I actually think, the moment your battery is at 4, you will definitely find me. Alright, enough talk. Let's get into today's bedtime story. Freljord, covered in heavy snow. The forest is a vast white field. Ivan walks through the dense woods, heading to his cabin shelter to experience life in the snow. Snow falls like goose feathers. Ivan has reached the shelter. He opens the door and goes inside. The facilities look brand new, though the walls have some gaps. Ivan pulls the curtains open, admiring the beautiful snowy view. He rests inside for a while, then takes out a damp-proof mat, laying it in the wooden bed. A fresh tablecloth covers the table. Ivan opens the fireplace cabinet and grabs some dry firewood. Snow keeps falling outside. Ivan chips the firewood with an axe. He lights some bark with a match, places it in the fireplace, loads in the chopped wood. The chimney begins to emit smoke. The fire is now burning bright. The cabin will soon be warm. Ivan seals the gaps in the wall, using insulation foam, stuffing it along the crack to block out the biting wind. Ivan goes back out into the snow, processing wood near the entrance, preparing plenty of fuel, surviving in the freezing cold, staying warm and comfortable. Requires the fire to burn steady, so he needs enough dry wood. Ivan saws a fallen tree trunk. Ivan enjoys the falling snow. While preparing his firewood, he immerses himself in the scenery. Ivan brings the wood to the camp, chipping it into smaller pieces to fit better in the fireplace and ensure a better burn. Ivan brings the wood inside, stacking it neatly by the hearth. Damp wood dries near the heat. Ivan opens the fire door, adding more wood to the flame. The fireplace is very hot. The room is warm enough for him to remove his coat. He takes off his wet boots and dries them by the fire. The storm shows no sign of stopping. Ivan rests in the shelter, reading his favorite book. A candle sits in the windowsill, creating a cozy atmosphere. Ivan goes outside with a pet, collecting some clean snow, wiping the bottom of the pet. Ivan returns inside. The shelter feels very safe. Snow falls from the trees. Ivan boils water in the stove, preparing tea at the table, pouring the boiling water. Ivan heats the pan with oil, searing the fresh beef. Bringing out the savory aroma, Ivan puts the beef into the pit, adding a bit of tomato sauce. Slow cook it over the fireplace. Snow is still falling outside. The beef stew in Ivan's pit is ready. He sits at the cozy dining table. He begins to eat with great appetite. Time is like a wild dinky that never stops. It gets dark outside unnoticed. Snowflakes look crystal clear under the light. Ivan has already finished the pit of stew. He pulls the curtains shut. He lies in the wooden bed and sleeps. The next morning, Ivan wakes up early. The outside is covered in pristine white snow. He heads outside with a hot coffee, sipping his coffee slow, admiring the poor white snow in the ground. It is a feeling that is hard to describe. Smoke still drifts from the chimney. A warm wooden cabin shelter. Icicles hung from the cabin roof. Ivan packs up his camping gear. He shuts the thick wooden door and begins the long journey home, ending this delightful snow camping trip. They say all over the internet, with 7% battery left, you are sure to find relaxing camping videos. That is just fooling the kids. I personally think, the moment your battery hits 4%, you are destined to find me. Alright, enough talk. Let us get into today's bedtime story. Lisa is one of the few women who loves winter camping. Whenever she has time, she brings her cat into the snowy, frozen wilderness to experience a unique survival trip. She puts her gear on cot in the sled, along with some wooden lugs, and heads out in her sled. After a long trek, Lisa arrives at a wooden cabin. The shelter looks quite grand in the snow. Its unique design has a special charm. Lisa opens the cabin door and takes her camping gear inside, placing it inside the shelter in the freezing snow. The cabin has been vacant for a while. The indoor temperature is at freezing point. Lisa gathers some dry branches and lights the fireplace in the corner as the fire begins to roar. The cabin temperature starts to rise. After Lisa sets up a bed for the cat, she goes to the entrance. The cabin door does not open smoothly. So for this visit, Lisa needs to replace the hinges. She first removes the wooden door. The sound of the drill is very harsh, but Lisa does not mind at all. She quickly gets the door off. She takes out the new hinges. The cat does not stay inside. Curiously climbing into the roof, Lisa fixes the new hinges to the frame. Following the mock positions, she reinstalls the wooden door. With the new set of hinges, the door swings much more smoothly. Due to imprecise construction, the door does not align perfectly. So Lisa uses a saw to trim the uneven parts. It starts to snow in the forest. Lisa has reinstalled the door. She adds a latch to the door. She seals the gaps with insulation, keeping the biting cold wind out. The thick insulation is easy to install. At this moment, the cabin, thanks to the fireplace, is warm and comfortable. After sealing the door tight, she goes outside to pick up her cat, spinning around happily in the snow. A beautiful face in a beautiful snowy scene. Such a cozy winter camping life. What a real treat. Lisa goes to the window. She plans to modify the window shutter, adding a new piece of wood to prop up the window flap. It can also hold some things. With Lisa's clever touch, the shutter becomes a dining spot for the cat. Lisa brings out the cat's favorite food. Standing by the window together, it starts to eat slowly. After a full meal, it doesn't forget to wish its pretty face. Snow continues to fall from the sky. Lisa takes firewood from inside the house. She swings the ox hod at the entrance, chipping the lugs into pieces. Lisa makes full preparations for the fireplace to ensure the fire keeps burning. Her snow carpet will be warm and comfortable. Lisa gathers the chipped firewood, neatly stacking it by the fireplace. She refills the fireplace with firewood. The dust in the floor needs cleaning. Lisa sweeps the dust out of the house. She lights a candle inside and hangs up an electric light too. It is getting late. After a busy day, Lisa starts making dinner. She places the ingredients in the table, putting some sausages in the pan, cooking them in the glowing fireplace. Heat makes the sausages crispy and fragrant. Lisa sets the cooked sausages in the table, serving them with bread slices. Lisa sits in the cozy cabin and begins to eat heartily. Most wild survivors barely eat, but Lisa's dinner is quite exquisite. The fireplace makes the cabin very warm. After eating, Lisa fills the fire again. She lies down in the wide, comfortable bed, cuddled up with the cat, falling into a peaceful sleep. The next morning arrives. Snow is still falling. Waking up, Lisa hugs her cat, showing a happy smile. She pulls back the curtain to look out. Can't help but be drawn to the snow. She steps out into the feeling the falling snowflakes, but she's dressed too thinly. Soon she runs back inside, shivering. Lisa rekindles the dying fire. She brews a cup of coffee. After a simple breakfast, Lisa starts packing her gear, putting her pits and pans into her bag. Holding the cat, she goes outside, closes the door, and starts the long trek home. Live for today. Are you asking for another drink? Then let's watch some soothing wilderness camping. I guarantee you'll fall asleep soundly. Is it past midnight already? Hey baby, your phone battery must be low. If I'm right, give me a little sign. If I'm wrong, I'll guess again tomorrow. Now, please get comfortable. Let's start tonight's bedtime story. That's right, it's Innie, a veteran wilderness survival blogger. This time he has arrived at a cabin shelter nearly flooded by the lake. The situation is very complex. Around the shelter, it's full of dead leaves washed up and scattered wooden board. Innie enters the wooden shelter, checking the condition inside. Luckily, the overall structure remains fairly intact. It just needs a few repairs, then it will be safe for his wilderness stay. Innie brought a lot of camping gear in his kayak. He takes them off the kayak one by one. Innie climbs up into the roof. There are some spare boards in the roof. He needs them to repair the shelter. Innie first removes the thick lugs from the side wall. Then he uses a saw to cut. They are cut to the right size. The boards are placed to form a walkway. This makes it easy to enter the shelter. After all, the entrance is currently flooded. He needs these two thick planks to use as a walkway. Innie brings the stove back inside. He places it in the corner. The fireplace looks very impressive. With a high-suction chimney, it passes through the hole in the wall. Innie quickly installs the fireplace. Then he fills it with dry firewood. Innie hangs his storage bag in the wall. He takes out a fire starter and lights the dry wood in the stove. Smoke rises through the high-suction chimney. The shelter begins to feel more like home. The cabin's humidity and temperature will improve now. Thanks to the fire, Innie works at the entrance. He picks up a window frame washed up by the water. He sets it aside just in case. The entrance terrace was washed away. Innie pulls the boards out of the water. He prepares to elevate the terrace, raising it up a bit higher to keep his shoes on sucks dry. The missing boards look quite familiar. Innie chuckles to himself. After the terrace is repaired, Innie returns inside. He hangs a cloth in the damp wall, which also looks quite damp. He lays a mat in the bed, adding a red blanket as a touch. The cabin is finally set up. The fire in the stove burns bright. Innie takes out a clean floral cloth and hangs it in the opposite wall. With this addition, the cabin looks clean and tidy now. Innie hangs the axe in the wall. He sits in the spacious wooden bed, looking through the window at the lake. Water splashes against the shelter walls. Innie clears off the dining table and spreads a tablecloth over it. Now he can organize his cooking utensils. Innie boils a pit of water in the stove. Only the sound of the lake fills the camp. Innie brings his wet boots inside. He wants to build an eave to prevent rain from flooding the entrance. Innie measures the board. He marks them accordingly, then cuts them with a saw. 3 boards fixed together create a solid flat surface. Innie uses a stick to fish something out. It looks like a square piece of wood, but it's too far to reach. He settles for the board he made. He fixes the board above the entrance, supported by 2 planks below. A small eave is finished. The water in the stove is boiling. Innie stands at the entrance, drinking tea and enjoying the beautiful view. Innie goes up the hillside. He collects some dry twigs. He ties them together with a rope. It makes a useful broom. He uses it to sweep the dust away. He piles up the dead leaves. The floor is clean. It even made the air in the cabin much fresher. Innie sat in the bed planning his next move. Suddenly he remembered the water tank was still not installed. Innie skillfully installed the faucet into the water tank. Then he fixed it to the wall. The floor below had a large rotten hole. Innie reinforced it with 2 wooden planks. Then he cut a hole in the floor. He filled the tank with clean water. He lit a candle underneath to heat up the water inside. Innie wished his hands under the faucet. The hot water flowed through the hole, draining straight into the lake. He boiled a pit of water in the fireplace, getting ready to cook a delicious meal. He added a bag of noodles to the boiling water while waiting for the food. Innie brought back a large log to keep the fireplace well stick. The noodles were already soft. Innie sliced some sweets in the cutting board. The cabin temperature was so warm that he had to take off his. Innie added salt to the noodles. He closed the door of his shelter. The meal in the fireplace was ready. Innie heated some oil and fried 3 sausages in the pan. The crispy sausages were paired with the sift boiled noodle. Innie sat in his spacious cabin and ate to his heart's content. A simple dinner proved the endless joy of survival. Innie had finished all his food. The shelter stood firm by the lake. Innie fell asleep after a full meal. Enjoy the moment while you can. Are you still browsing late at night? Then let's watch some relaxing wilderness building. It will help you drift off to sleep. Is it past midnight? And is your phone battery low? Surely you have a charger nearby. If I guessed right, give a little sign. If not, we can keep guessing tomorrow. Now please get comfortable. Let's start today's bedtime story. Innie returned to his newly built cave, since the shelter was built recently. The interior condition remained exactly as he left it. The mountain shelter looked quite impressive. Innie put his gear back inside and walked out of the shelter. He washed his face in the clear river. He came here today to fix the lighting inside. He brought along a square pane of glass. Innie grabbed his saw and started working in the wall. He needed to cut out a window frame to install the glass. The river water sparkled. Floating debris drifted under the blue sky. Innie had finished cutting the frame. He measured the frame's dimensions with a ruler. Innie went to the river and found a flat board. Wished up in the shop, he really was lucky, finding exactly what he needed. He brought the board back and sawed it to the measured size. With 4 matching wooden planks, he could frame the glass. Once the transparent window was ready, Innie fit it perfectly into the window frame. The guy, a true master of wilderness building. The window fit the frame perfectly, with an error of less than 2 centimeters. With bright windows installed, the cabin is much brighter. Winnie takes out insulation foam and seals it into the wall gaps, blocking cold, damper from the river. For larger gaps at the entrance, Winnie fills them with wood scraps, then seals them with insulation foam. Once the entire wall is covered and sealed, the cabin stays warm and cozy. Winnie smiles at the entrance, admiring his own handiwork. The river is rising steadily. Winnie feels adventurous. He wants to catch a fish to solve his food problem, but his tools are limited. Can a stick really catch a fish? In his way back to the shelter, Winnie happens to find a piece of sheet metal. It will surely come in handy back home. Winnie climbs up to the shelter. He wants to wrap the chimney gap. After measuring the dimensions, Winnie cuts the metal with his axe, then marks the chimney size with a knife. Finally, using an axe and knife, he cuts a hole into the metal to fit the chimney pipe. The metal is fixed to the wall, solving the drafty chimney issue. With the metal sheet odd, the shelter is much sturdier. Winnie takes a shovel from inside to level the soil under the window. But the ground is too hard. He uses his axe to break it up, then levels it with his shovel. The soil under the window is now flat. Winnie builds a simple wooden bench, perfect for viewing the beautiful scenery. After a short rest, Winnie goes back inside and hangs his storage bag. He wipes the table clean and places a kerosene lamp there. The view outside is mesmerizing. Inside, Winnie lights the lamp, creating a warm and cozy atmosphere. Winnie collects some dry leaves and fills the corner fireplace. He lights the firewood. Smoke begins to rise from the chimney. The area is littered with branches. Winnie gathers them easily. He uses a saw to cut to fit the size of the fireplace, preparing plenty of fuel. At sun, Winnie returns indoors. He boils water in the stove, preparing for his evening meal. He lights a candle in the windowsill and decorates the walls with candles. Winnie opens a can of beef. The water in the stove is boiling. Winnie picks up the kettle and brews himself a cup of tea, sitting under the eaves with tea, enjoying the beautiful night view. When it comes to survival skills, this old guy really knows his stuff. Winnie returns inside and pours the beef into a pan. A pretty decent dinner, leaving Winnie feeling stuffed. He adds a sweet treat and finishes his dinner. Winnie lies down in the wooden bed and drifts off to sleep. The next morning arrives. The weather is clear and sunny. Around the shelter, only the sound of the river flows. Winnie is packed and ready to go. He leaves the shelter for the long journey home.